Hello, my name is Dr. Roger Harris, and I am the Superintendent and Chief Executive Officer of the Boston Renaissance Charter Public School. Welcome to the Positive Youth Project. Our shows have been created to highlight the positive efforts of youth in our community and the adults who are guiding them down their pathway to their preferred future. Thank you for watching. We hope that you enjoy the program.
Our Story is a theater production that entertains, educates, and at times disturbs its audience.
Any last words, boy? Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free.
I know the Lord will make a way. He will make a way.
Presented annually for the last decade by OrigiNation, Inc., a cultural and performing arts center located in Roxbury's Eggleston Square, Our Story is committed to keeping it real.
My husband believes in if we're going to do it, do it. If we're going to tell the truth, tell the truth. And I'm a firm believer of that. Normally, we just have one person being lynched. And this year, we said, why not do 2 or 3? Because that's what they did. And so to see the curtain open and 3 young people standing underneath a noose is heart-wrenching. And it breaks my heart.
Having a heart makes OrigiNation capable of producing Our Story and simultaneously have a positive impact on young people throughout the Boston community.
OrigiNation came to be 16 years ago. And my family is Congolese, so I'm a Congolese American. And growing up, I watched my parents kind of give a lot. Like they used to give and give and give and give without really asking for anything in return. So we had a lot of people that stayed at our homes and, people that they would give food to or clothing or, help get visas and things like that. But after, years of watching that, I noticed joy in them. And, in some ways, I wanted to be able to experience that joy. So I wanted to start a performing arts summer program where young people could come and learn about themselves through the performing arts and through African culture.
You do realize that this is a history class, right?
Right.
I'm just wondering, what do you actually teach?
Economics. And like I said, I'm here because I need the money.
So that's it, huh? You know what, y'all? We need to say a prayer for this guy.
The culmination of this desire to teach young people a variety of skills through different mediums is the annual production of Our Story.
God, that nightmare is over. And what do you want?
I just want to tell you that God is going to make you a better person, teacher, an example today.
What? What do you mean?
I rebuke you in the name of the Lord, please show this man the way to himself. Don't worry about the guy. Because God's good, and all the time, God is good.
I wanted to be able to explore utilizing poetry and monologues and scene work to really create a bigger production in terms of the celebration of African and African American history. And so it used to be smaller, but then once I started working, I met my husband and we started really just thinking about our history and how much history we have. We said, why don't we just explode with it? Why don't we just put it all down on paper and see what comes up with it?
Hey!
What they came up with is a thought-provoking, entertaining, educational production. The play begins with substitute teacher Mr. Waka Flocka being educated by a shy yet brilliant student played by Kayla Riggins.
History class, right?
Right?
In our story, I was in the classroom scene. That was the very beginning of our story, and I played a student who was kind of timid, but in the end kind of just came back at their teacher because the teacher was very, very ignorant in what he was saying, and it was, I played the role that no one expected to come up and say what she said to the teacher.
Oh, no, that wouldn't be me. No.
From this exchange, Mr. Flocka Waka and the audience embark on a historical journey where we meet well-known and not so well-known historical African-American figures, and we're exposed to pivotal African and African-American issues and circumstances in scenes that have a lasting effect on the audience and the actors.
I think for me, the scene that hits me the hardest in our story is the Middle Passage scene, which is when all of the Africans travel to America. And I think because of the activities that we do in the rehearsal, where we have everyone lay on the ground and we go through the whole process, we shut off all the lights and people get on the floor, they lay next to each other and children are ripped from each other, and it's just a whole big scenario that we do to try to get people in that mentality. And I feel like that hits me the hardest because you never really know what goes on until you're like in that predicament and you start really putting yourself in their shoes.
What are you all doing here? Come on now, if you don't leave, there's gonna be a bunch of trouble.
We don't want any trouble, we just want lunch.
Well, if you don't want any trouble, you best get moving. Come on now, y'all know they don't serve all kinds at this counter. Will y'all take y'all weed shell overcome selves to the back of the store to be served?
How can you say that to us? Aren't you tired of being sick and tired? Aren't you tired of being treated like an animal?
Yes, I am. But this is the way it is, and there ain't nothing I can do about it.
I want to say the Woolworth scene, which was the sit-in. It really impacted me because it was, you could really feel like how African Americans were treated back then, because it just didn't matter if you were like, because you were African American, you were treated differently. And it was very hard because it's like, you have your own people who are trying to sell you out as well, not just the white people, just to keep their job or just to stay, like, keep their place in society. It was not like we were the people that were trying to go against the status quo. We were trying to stand up for our rights that we did have, and we ended up getting lynched for it. And it was very emotional experience for me. And that was like the hardest role because you never knew it was gonna happen. It was just,
serve colored here.
it was like, wow.
Take you and your high yellow friend and get out of here before I call the sheriff. Go on now, get out of here. Oh, you pygmies want to play. Let's see how high you can hang from that tree out back. Mabel, call the sheriff. See what you all did? I need this job.
What are you all doing here?
They want to be served.
Served? Here? They must be out there Negra-loving moms. Now I'm gonna ask again, what are you doing here? What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? And you, what are you doing? Reading? Give me that. You know pickaninnies can't read nowhere. Sterilize this. Now this is your last chance. Woolworth has to close, cause you gorillas, just like your mama over there, contaminated our space. But we need her. If you all are still here when we lock those doors, you're gonna regret the day you were born. Sally Mae, hit the lights. Let them sit in the dark.
They're so black, they won't even be able to see each other.
The material covered in our story is designed to elicit this type of empathy and understanding from the actors, according to co-director Anthony Talib Robinson Muhammad.
Well, one thing, when they walk through the door, we want them to have a sense of family, a sense of safe environment, you know, and we know that they walk away with some type of education piece of a part of our history that they weren't aware of. You know, we sort of stay away from the Frederick Douglasses, the Martin Luther Kings. I think we're saturated with Martin Luther King, you know, great man, great journey, but there were many others who walked that walk as well, you know, and sacrificed their life and the lives of their families. So the educational piece is crucial, that they leave with something that they didn't have, some knowledge of someone or some event that took place that you're not going to get in school.
When our story presents the less known events in history, it does so with an in-your-face presentation, so that audiences not only learn something, they are emotionally moved by the scene.
Nowadays, you have to send your child to school wearing a bulletproof vest. Wake up! You killed my 70-year-old father when he was only shopping for my mother. You pushed my best friend and bullied her to commit suicide. Wake up!
What I really got out of our story is don't take anything for granted. Just never take anything for granted, because there are so many people in this world who've done so much, African Americans, that you don't hear about. Like Judith Jameson, Claudette Coleman. People don't know about her. They know about Rosa Parks, but they won't know about her because it was taboo because she was one who sat on the bus and wouldn't get up. But you won't know about her because she was pregnant. And back then, you know, it was kind of taboo if you were a teen and you were pregnant, that they wouldn't tell about you. So most people don't know about her, and they know about Rosa Parks. And I like the fact that we got to learn about Claudette through our story, because we always know about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they're taught. But there's other little people who helped these big people get to where they were that you didn't learn about in school or during your Black History celebrations that you have, or those things. We learned about the little people, and the little people, they add up. They really count.
While the actors and the audience learn a lot about African and African American history, the effort and commitment made to make these characters authentic in each scene takes an emotional toll on these actors.
I switched from being a minority to a Caucasian, so it's a really big difference. First, I'm pro-Black, you know, yeah, freedom, power, and then after that, I'm kind of just like, I'm racist and I'm ignorant. And it's really hard because that's just not who I am regularly, so it takes a lot out of me.
There's a lot of method acting you have to go through, so you have to actually just try to stay in your role even though you're not on stage. So that means, like, for that entire day, just mentally prepare yourself as that person, because when you're on stage, that's who you have to portray. And so if you get yourself in the mindset that that's who you actually are, then the emotions come along a lot easier.
I look into the eyes of the young people, and I trigger whatever emotions I can by making it as real as possible, you know? And afterwards, like when I play a role of a killer, a torturer, immediately after the scene is over, I have to take a minute, because I usually go and run around a corner and get some tissue and get it out. You know, I get emotional, you know, tears come down, headache, you know, those kind of things. And then I have to turn that off and go right back into production mode. You know, one of the most difficult things to do is to be a director, to be the stage person, and then to be the actor, and then come back and be the director. I have to play the role of the Klansman, I honestly really don't feel anything with that one. It took a lot for me to get my mind right to put the sheets on. And then to do what I do, which is the lynching of 1 or 2 or 3 young individuals, young children. It's just something that needed to be done, and it needs to be done, so I just sort of blank everything out. As the role of the individual who snatched the baby and I sort of crushed the baby, I have to prepare mentally for that, as I know that it's not a game, it's not fun. It's something that is very necessary, something that is very true, and most people don't feel comfortable doing it. And there's a certain way that it needs to be done. You can't just throw the baby in there and step on it. There's a taunting that takes place and all that kind of stuff. So to never really have seen that happen and to have to make that happen, I just go with what I feel and just through reading and studying that process that took place. So, that's the interesting question. It's just, I zone in and then I zone out.
The scenes are meant to provoke and challenge the actors and the audience, but it's the whole production experience that motivates these students to apply what they learn in their daily lives.
This motivates me because I go to school and I say I'm gonna learn today because there were people in the past who weren't where I was. And there were people who fought to be where I am today. And they went through so much to be here. So I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna do my best in everything. Even if it's when I'm dancing, when I'm acting, when I'm just with my friends. I'm gonna try my best because people struggled for me to be here today in the society we live in.
It's important to me because I feel like I'm helping give back to the community. At first, I started off like just dancing in it. Then I went into a little bit of acting. And then a couple years ago, she asked for my help to help stage the production. And that is a big part of the production. It takes a lot to put it on. So for me to actually be able to give direction and say, you do this, you do that, it's a lot, but I love it.
It's this type of attitude that makes Shamba so proud of these young people.
Alicia's been with me since I started. Like, she was little with these 2 long ponytails and very energetic, but she had some self-confidence issues going on. But you, looking at Alicia, you would go, you're kidding me, right? Because she was always ready to work, even at the age of, 8 and 9 years old. But she's in college. She's a teacher here at OrigiNation. She does auditions. She's in a former member of our senior dance troupe, but she still comes and does performances at the drop of a dime. She's helped a lot with our story in terms of costuming and makeup. And just watching her explode makes me excited. And I'm elated by the fact that she works so hard.
Kayla Riggins is also a hard worker, balancing a vigorous course load at a competitive high school when she's participating in the production of Our Story.
My name is Kayla.
And with Kayla in the school she goes to, she has a lot of work that she has to do. It's tough being at Latin, but she works really, really hard. And if you ask Kayla, okay, Kayla, I need you to take this and memorize it and be off book by next weekend. Okay. And you say, you sure, Kayla? Oh yeah, I got it. And she comes back and she has it. So, I love being able to watch them develop and watch them, take charge of things. It's unbelievable. It's amazing.
While many of the students have multiple roles in the production, multitasking is normal for actor Jeffrey Alkins.
Jeffrey was a force and is a force to be reckoned with in terms of his fire and his drive and his want to do well. I feel like he's just unstoppable, and he does so many different things, from playing sports to playing instruments to acting and dance and swimming. He's just a very well-rounded young man, and I take pride in the fact that he allows me to be able to work with him.
I remember when Jeffrey did his first dance, he did a little dance. He was about 6 years old, and he danced to a song called The Wild Wild West by Kumo D. And he was so, he was like, if anyone just had laughed or smiled, probably would have crushed him, you know what I mean? Because he was like, this is his big debut, he was real little, so we just watched him, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that really helped him to grow from where he is. But all the things that he's doing in school, going to Newton South, you know, getting ready to go to college, you know, always willing to help, always giving, good family background, you know, myself, that's my nephew, my sister, shout out to my sister Deborah, you know, very well mannered and just very easy to get on. All of them is so easy to work with. You know, they never say no, really.
It's this type of attitude that makes OrigiNation feel like a family, guiding, supporting, and preparing its members for future success.
Here at OrigiNation, we do the same thing. We treat everyone with respect, and we try to make sure we treat everyone as if they're on a high pedestal. And they understand that if they make mistakes, they are going to be spoken to about it, but they have to learn from those mistakes and try not to make the same mistakes again. So we really utilize a lot of African traditions and African culture to help the young people understand that, you know, this is family. We're here for you just like you want to, you know, be here for us. We're definitely here for you.
If I was not doing Our Story nor a member of OrigiNation, I honestly do not know what I would be doing. This program has done so much for my life. Just in general, I've been here for 16 years, basically since the very, very beginning, and I haven't left. It's a family. So for me, to leave is not really an option. I've learned a whole lot from people here. Not just Dabinga, not just Talib or Anthony, you know, I've learned from my children, from teaching dance to doing Our Story. So I feel like if I was not here, I honestly do not know what I would be doing with my life.
They say not to judge a book by its cover, and Our Story really helps me to do that because you learn so much through different characters that you play, different roles that this person could have been. The little people could have been like invented a fire hydrant or a dustpan or anything. It's like you learn to just be nice to everyone because you never know what if you just smile at somebody from if that really just gonna brighten up their day. Just make somebody happy. If you could just smile all the time, you know, hug somebody, say hello to your family, you know, because tomorrow is not promised, and it really just helps you just to keep yourself level-headed and keep an open mind.
Creating an open mind is what Our Story attempts to do with the audience. While the subject matter can make an audience feel uncomfortable based on their race, the purpose is to educate, not intimidate.
You know, it's always kind of sticky because we know some of the scenes are dealing directly with racism, you know, and torturing and all those kind of things. But it also, we want them to understand that resiliency is not just with African American people, but the white plight as well, you know. But we want them to understand that there's a whole piece of education that they might not get, and they might not hear about it at home or in school. And this is the absolute truth, 100% true, everything we've done. You know, but we mix it with humor as well. You know, we do some little sarcastic stuff, but we want them to walk away with a sense of knowledge about African American history, and we want them to walk away with an experience saying, well, I was in a room full of African American students and everybody acts civilized, everybody, you know, made us feel welcome, you know. So we want them to feel welcome, we want them to learn something, and ultimately, you know, maybe they can come on and really be a part of it.
Well, I'm hoping that everyone's will understand the struggle that African Americans went through as a people from back in the time when we were in Africa, when we were just doing our thing and, you know, dancing, a child was being born, until we were getting sold on the slave ship and we were coming through the Middle Passage, people were getting thrown overboard, people were committing suicide. Just, I want them to see that struggle that we went through as a people and how it wasn't easy for us. Because I go to a school that's predominantly white, and some of them will say ignorant comments like, why do we have Black History Month? Like, we don't have a month. but we have the shortest month out of the whole year. We have the shortest month. We started off with a week. People don't teach about African Americans. They don't teach about the inventors, the writers, the journalists, the dancers, everything. We learn about Christopher Columbus, we learn about all these European people, but we don't learn about African American history unless it's February. And I think that everyone should just, if you took away anything from our story, take away the struggle that we went through, because we struggled a lot. And to be here today is just, it's an honor.
Our story is presented at Roxbury Community College, where matinee performances are often filled with audiences comprised of schools from the suburbs, which creates an opportunity to shatter some of the stereotypes.
We know that there's predominantly white schools coming. First of all, we want them to understand that they're safe here. You know, I don't know what the perception may be, oh, going into Roxbury and then you're gonna have the Burke here and different high schools, Dorchester High School, you might have there might be some problem, there could be some gang members in the crowd and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff is just stigma. You know, the reality is these are young students from all over the city that are going to school trying to get their education and move forward with life. Higher education, good paying jobs, entrepreneurship, whatever the case may be. So we want them to see that as well.
My hope for them is to just understand where others are coming from. It's not necessarily to judge or to do anything or to make them feel bad about themselves. It's just to help them understand the history of the world. Because some people see things from just one light, and it's different when you get to see it from other people's perspective. So it's just our hope that we get to teach and they take it in and they continue to want to learn.
It's this type of teaching and learning that these three young people experience that makes our story such a valuable production for the community and OrigiNation, Inc. The characters played by the students give them a chance to look at themselves.
I started at the bottom and kind of built my way up. Especially here, I started really low and then I built my way up. And just with my life in general, I like to, you know, kind of make my own way. Don't like to follow people, kind of do my own thing.
I want young people to understand that it's okay to be who you are. You don't have to put on this facade. You don't have to put on a front to make friends. You don't have to put on a front to make people like you. It's okay to be that person in school that when a teacher asks a question and you know the answer, put your hand up and answer that question. Because then maybe that person that's in the back that doesn't really know the answers may come to you later on and say, can you help me out with that math assignment? I saw you put your hand up in social studies. Can you help me out because we have a test coming up? I want young people to understand that they can do anything they set their minds and hearts to do. The sky is the absolute limit.
The most important thing is the fact that I am teaching someone else. I like to hear the fact that children come back to me and like, I learned so much. We have teachers that come see it, tell us that they learned stuff that they never knew before, and that is an amazing experience to be able to teach someone something.
We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode of the Positive Youth Project, a series created by the Boston Renaissance Charter Public School to highlight the positive activities of youth in our community and the institutions and organizations who are mentoring them along the way. My name is Sharmi Snetter, 4th grade teacher at the Boston Renaissance Charter Public School. For more information about the Positive Youth Project and how to support the project or to submit a recommendation of an organization or individual positively and successfully mentoring today's youth, please contact Boston Renaissance Charter Public School Superintendent and Chief Executive Officer Dr. Roger Harris by email at rharris@bostonrenaissance.org, by mail at 1415 Hyde Park Avenue, Hyde Park, 02136, or by phone at 617-357-0900, extension 1115. We welcome your support and feedback and hope you'll join us for the next episode of the Positive Youth Project. Until then, I'm Sharmi Snetter. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Thank you.
Flacco